We always talk about money, this, that, blah, 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 blah. BGF, you know what it's time to do. It's time to give them the.
He's giving them business down there. He's giving them business down there. He's giving them business down there.
Oh, hey, welcome back. You know I don't smoke, it's just a pen. So, this is one of our episodes, of course, of Give Them the Business, BGF. So, we got to give them the business because a lot of times we talk about finances. You guys ask me questions figuring out how do you start businesses? How do you do this? How do you do that? So, I said, you know what? How about we talk about some stories of things of what not to do? How the failings in my world has led to some prosperity, but also some interesting altercations. So let me tell you a little bit about a situation that I had. Quite a few years ago, a buddy of mine and I decided that it would be a great idea to start a social media app that would bring forth people from your area along with their pets and create a social community. So this particular app sounded like a ton of fun because it was going to be breaking edge. We were going to go mobile first, website second, and we were going to do it all ourselves. But we needed a little bit of help. We understood how to program. We understood that we had a little bit of money to be able to throw at this project. But we didn't understand much. And of course, how long it would take. We just thought that we would open it up to the world instead of localizing it first to test and ensure that everything will work out properly. So as my buddy and I were designing the app itself, we needed two things. We knew how to code, but we needed somebody who was pretty strong on the back end, but also a designer to create some of the characters or caricatures of our icons because we wanted to this to be personalized, not just random emojis that you find online. So it was easy to find a designer because we knew a girl who was in college who was pretty proficient at that. The next thing we needed to do was find a local back-end programmer that could help us get some things done pretty quickly. Local, which is what you always want, of course, because you want to be able to speak to that person face to face, not just virtually all the time. So the first thing that popped into our mind is that we need to find this person where. Can you guess? Can you guess? Say a little bit louder because we're very intelligent. Oh, you got it right. Craigslist. So we go into Craigslist and we look up back-end programmers in the section known as jobs. People seeking jobs. So we pop that out there and within a week, we actually get a bite. We get a bite from a guy. We'll call the guy Craig from Craigslist, right? So Craig says, hey, I have the experience. I'm currently doing this type of work for another company. I can get this to you ASAP. Let's work and negotiate on the price. So we worked on a pretty sweet deal. This guy was right down the road and he said that he could do it in the time frame in which we allotted him. We were super excited. We're going to get this thing banging. Boom, it's going to be the next Facebook. Boom, it's going to be the next IG. We're about to make bank. Even if it's not that, it might be 10% of that gross of what they gross per year. So moving on to the next day as our next weeks, as we're waiting to get some of the product because it's about a couple days away from the finalized product being approved by us, and we get an email. So we get an email from a lady and the lady is requesting payment. So I look at my buddy, he looks at me and we're like, we don't have this lady as a part of our project. So why is she requesting payment? Would you know why she's requesting payment? Huh, chat? Do you know? She was requesting payment because she said the work is finished. And we said, we have not given you any work, so we're not going to give you any payment, scammer. She then types up an email and responds with our GoDaddy server information, our passwords, and some other credentials that no one else would have outside of us and maybe one member of the project team that needs access with a temporary password. Shocked, of course. We look at each other and we ask her, well, what are you giving us and how do you have this information? She says, hey, well, I have all of your back-end server information because I've been working on the code for it and I have it finished. I just need payment before I can give it to you. So I look at my buddy, we look at each other and we say, hey, first of all, we need to get this from her because we want to get our product complete. We'll pay her because apparently she did the work and we'll shut off her password and access. So we proceed to pay the woman her money. And then we reach out to Craig. We say, hey, Craig, We have a lady that's reaching out to us stating that she is doing the work that you're supposed to be doing and she has your information. Please let us know what's going on because we have already paid you. Craig doesn't respond. He says he did respond once. He said he doesn't know what we're talking about, that he is completing the work himself. A couple days go by, we're trying to get back in touch with Craig. He doesn't respond. A week goes by, he doesn't respond. At this point in time, you know me. I want my money back. The work's already completed. I want a full refund. Craig doesn't respond, but we have Craig's home address. So because we are such wise business people, I have a great idea to go give Craig a visit before our work day. So my buddy worked with me at another location at a Fortune 10 company. We won't name any names, but we get in my car before work commenced that day, maybe 6 or 7 in the morning. We drive down the street. This guy lived in the projects. He lived in the hood. He lived in a broken down apartment complex. So we get there, and of course, me being smart, knowing I'm from one of those areas elsewhere, I have a suit on. So I get out and people are staring at me because I now look like I have money and I'm walking into this neighborhood. So we walk into the way the structure is built is there's a building that has this raggedy elevator that we have to get into that's separate from the apartment complex because he is on level 2, but you can't get there by stairs. So we have to get into this rickety elevator and we go up the elevator to the 2nd floor. And then there's this ratchet bridge that you cross to get into the apartment complex. So as we're walking across the bridge, I'm looking to the left and to the right to make sure no one's following me. And we get to his door. I knock. No answer. I knock again. No answer. My buddy looks at me and he's like, hey, BGF, we should go. Don't worry about it. I look at him and I say, buddy, I'm getting my money. I knock one more time. No answer. I put my ear to the door. Hey, I hear something. Oh, you hear something, BGF? Yeah, listen. I hear water. So then I yell, Craig, open up. We know you're in there. No response. My buddy says, let's go. Before I knew it, my hand was reaching for the doorknob. I had to give it a turn. The door was open. I proceed to open the door and I look at him and I say, hey man, we're not strapped, but I want my money. Something bad could go down, but I want my money. So we walk into this house. Pitch black. The apartment has a bed that's on the floor, not up. There's a laptop to the side of the bed on a stand, and it has some imagery that's going around. Has a woman on there, very, very plus size woman, in provocative stances. I won't get into detail. So I'm looking at that, I'm looking at my boy, and I'm saying, hey, this is getting weird. So then at that time, while we're standing there, I close the door and it's pitch dark. We see the bathroom lights on and the water's running. So I say, Craig, we know you're here. Come out. I want my money. You want your money. I wanted my money. So the water shuts off. Craig cuts the light off. And I stand back by the door and I tell my buddy to back up because if he starts shooting or something crazy happens, we have to run out of this house, the apartment. The door opens to the bathroom. I step back and I'm waiting. And now Craig is supposedly coming out. So I'm looking for him. I'm talking to my buddy. Hey buddy, I don't see him. The door's open. Where's he at? I hear a noise, but I don't see him. My eyes slowly start to glance down. There was Craig. Craig was dragging himself across the ground. You ask why? Craig doesn't have any legs. So I see half a body dragging itself across the ground in the pitch dark, and I'm about to freak out. So Craig starts to then plead, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean for this to happen. I lost my job and I needed the money, so I reached out to someone to help me, but I'll pay you back. I said, Craig, I want my money right now. Where's my money? He said, I spent your money. I said, Craig, that's not good enough. I need my money right now. He said, well, when I get a job, I'll pay you back. My buddy then proceeds to go over to his laptop where there's a hard drive, and he takes the hard drive and he says, we're going to keep this as collateral until we get our money back. Craig begins to scream and say that he needs the hard drive. He needs it for his work that he supposedly is doing, but he wasn't doing for us. So we look at Craig and say, hey, have a good day. We're leaving. Craig screams that he's going to call the cops. And I don't want to hear that. I'm not paying attention to that, although it seems like it would be a crazy idea for him to call the cops for robbing from us, and now we're robbing from him. I wouldn't even say it's a robbery. I would say it's collateral. So we leave that house and we drive to work. Breathing heavy, but not breathing heavy. As we sit down, I begin to receive many text messages from Craig. Where's my hard drive? I need it now. I'm calling the cops. Give it to me. I'm calling the cops. I'm calling the cops. He did this for about 2 or 3 days. The cops never showed up. Weeks go by. We never received our work, our payment for the work rendered to Craig and to the other lady. So in the end, we tried to crack his hard drive, tried to hack into the hard drive to see what was on it. To this day, we have not done so yet. It's pretty secure. We'll get there eventually. But in conclusion, what do we learn from this? These are business deals. So you should work with a professional. You should not use Craigslist for the most part to find a business professional for a professional website. So what I would tell you is be careful who you partner with. Maybe don't front the entire 100% of the money. Break it up into increments. Work wisely, smartly, diligently, and always, always, always vet your people. Because it may work out well, but you may be in the same position as me. What would you do? Because I don't know. You tell me. It's time to give him the business with Brain Gap Phil. See you next time.